The chair now recognizes a gentleman from California, Mr. Obernolte, for his 5 minutes of questioning.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank Congressman Carter for swapping questioning spots with me. We're all trying to navigate the crazy hearing schedule today, and I appreciate the ability to ask the questions. I wanted to talk a little bit about the AFC wildcard game and the streaming on Peacock. I was one of the millions of Americans who struggled with how to watch that game. And I found the experience frustrating, but not for the reasons that have been mentioned so far. I mean, it's true. When I first tried to tune in the game, I didn't know where it was, but 5 seconds on Google cleared up that mystery. There's been some testimony that it's difficult to figure out how to download the Peacock app and get everything hooked up. But I think American consumers have become accustomed to that just because you have to have so many apps to be able to get access to the content that you want to see. It's true that I had to pay for it, but what I did was subscribe to Peacock and then immediately unsubscribe. Sorry, Peacock. So essentially, I turned it into pay-per-view. I paid $5.99 to see the game, and that seemed to me like a reasonable entertainment value proposition. You rent a movie online, it costs $5 or $10, so $6 for 3 hours worth of content didn't seem unreasonable. But I'll tell you what really did bother me is, so I turned on the game. After the first change of possession, an advertisement came on, and Geico said, this game brought to you by Geico. And I thought, that's not true. This game was brought to me by me, right? Because I just paid $6 for it. So it seems to me like we're in this kind of confusing area where the industry is trying to sort out how to pay for this content. And I have faith that we're going to get there, because free markets seem to find a way, and consumer demand is going to drive consumer behavior, and consumer behavior is going to influence the way that we provide that content to them. So, Mr. Bergmeyer, could you talk a little bit about whether or not you share my sense of frustration about that, and how you think this is all going to sort out?
Yeah, I mean, the specific comment about how people subscribe to services that increasingly also have ads, that certainly is a source of common consumer complaints. And I think what you mentioned about the convenience of games, I agree it is a free market. I think the issue sometimes that I see with sports is the short-term gain versus the long-term building up of a fan base, meeting fans where they are. And my worry here is that in a free market, sometimes the companies are incentivized to have very short-term deals that seem to make sense right away, but are alienating the fan base or perhaps not growing the fan base to a new generation of viewers. So I agree that the free market eventually works things out. It takes some time, and lots of companies make some pretty significant mistakes along the way.
Thank you. Mr. Orand, really appreciated your testimony, and thank you very much for not reading. I don't like it when we just read at each other, right? I think it takes away the human interaction of a hearing like this, and so when people read their opening statements, then we read our questions, I think it really detracts from it, so I appreciated that. You mentioned in your testimony that sometimes when you're walking your dog, you're noticing that people are not watching your game, and that means that your neighbors are subsidizing your viewing of the game. And I found that really fascinating, because it illustrates kind of the tragedy of the commons that has occurred with these subscription services. What's wrong with the idea that if I want to watch my favorite team, I can go straight to the team and ask to watch the game? Why are teams not just going to eventually cut out the middleman and market their content straight to consumers?
I think for a couple of reasons. One comes down to money. Regional sports networks historically have paid a lot of money for the rights to those games, and so if you're a regional sports network or any sports network, if you're a team, do you just kind of want to sit down and collect the money, or do you want to try to create your own media business? And sometimes it's easier just to sit down and collect money.
Right. I mean, I understand that, but I think ultimately, like any business, sports teams are not in the business of doing deals with regional sports networks. They're in the business of establishing relationships with their fans and building those relationships over time. Everyone in business is in that same boat. And it seems to me like that opportunity to have a direct relationship with the people that you're serving is one that eventually they're not going to be able to pass up. So, I mean, I, as a sports fan, have no problem with the idea that I'm going to have to pay a few dollars to stream a game online. But
I will say that there's an unmistakable trend towards streaming in what you're describing. That certainly is a trend line.
Right.
But if I may jump in, Those are actually available largely with a direct-to-consumer subscription and on a regional sports network. So the opportunity for a subscriber to not be a part of pay TV and get to those games is available in a large quantity of teams in the marketplace.
Right.
But to answer your question, why? Because they wouldn't make the money that they make through the distribution that we provide and the subsidization that, in John's example to you, because we pay for everybody who has that level of subscription. We pay a license fee for every single one of those subscribers for us in our choice package.
Right.
So
Well-
if they were to do one-offs and direct, subscriptions, it pales in comparison to what the model that they currently enjoy through us.
It will certainly be interesting to see how the market sorts out. Thank you for your testimony. I see I'm out of time. Yield back, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman